Oh God. Okay.
Technical difficulties to start the show. We're just anyway, take it away, Kevin.
All right. Anyways. Well, I was trying to get myself in there, and then Hefty Dog was trying to get himself in there, and then it just didn't work out. But we're in. We're in. That's all that matters. But anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to Brew Jackets. It's a fun Blue Jackets themed podcast. My name is Kevin, and joining me tonight is my co-host Hefty Duck. And like we always do, we always invite some of our friends onto the show.
What's up, Crew Lions? Thanks for leaving a comment for us on Twitter.
That's right. Hello there, Crew Lions. But as always, we always invite our friends to come on the show. Whether if they do or don't come on, that's a different story. There's always next time if they don't come on. Anyways, we're continuing our player report card series. What grades do Dante Fabro and Jake Christensen and Yegor Chinakhov get? We're going to talk about that. How much did the jerseys that the Blue Jackets wore at the outdoor game go for? We're going to talk about that because I found a website that tells you that. And we're going to show every jersey and how much they went for. So we're going to have that. Also, there are some Ohio State and Michigan connections to the Blue Jackets. I have a list of players who've played for both Ohio State and Michigan and eventually for the Blue Jackets. So I'm going to show that. Also got some other fun stuff to talk about as well. So, and how much did James Van Riemsdyk's pants from the Blue Jackets outdoor game go for? I got that as well. So, a lot of stuff to talk about. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Welcome in. I'm just making a couple posts here, spreading the word of the Brew Jackets. If you would like to listen to us, check us out on Google, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you can get a podcast. We are there. Just look up Brew Jackets, BREW Jackets. I can't spell jackets. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you're watching that from. Check us out on YouTube. We're trying to grow our YouTube. If you hit up our link tree, you can find our Facebook too. We can't quite stream on Facebook yet. Our biggest audience is out there on X/Twitter. But if you give us a follow on Facebook, we'll stream there too. So yeah, quite a lot to talk about today. I don't have any like super recent news. Did we talk about Worlds last week, or did that end since then?
We've talked about that.
Okay, they won. Okay. Sorry, I should have checked.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I don't just have any like random tidbits or informations or anything to start the show off here. There's definitely a bunch of rumors floating around out there, but here's a little teaser for next week. We'll be discussing once some of the rumors kind of pan out, we get a little more information. We'll be reporting on those here too. But since we are not a like breaking news podcast, we are a weekly podcast. We don't tend to try to hop on that shit like right now. So just a little teaser for the next couple of weeks. We'll be doing that. We have a couple more player report cards to go yet too. And then maybe we'll even do some coach report cards. We'll talk about Dean Emerson a little bit, or how the power play went and defense and this and that too. So keep an eye out for that kind of stuff coming up. I guess one thing is Caden Lindstrom is going to be playing in the 2025 Memorial Cup tonight. It is the final game, I believe, of that tournament. So could the Medicine Hat Tigers walk away with the cup, or will it be is it London Knights? Ontario Knights?
I think it's someone else, but I could be wrong.
They have a freaking little knight as their. Oh, it is London Knights. Yeah,
it is. All right then. Okay, it is.
It's the way she goes. Look, it's the OHL. Or is it the OHL?
Yes.
CHL. Shit, I don't know, dude. It's one of them leagues. Anyway, let's get on to something to talk about. Right. Yes, quite a few more people are joining here. Welcome in if you're just joining us.
All right. So We're beginning today's show with how much did each jersey from the Blue Jackets outdoor game go for? The stuff I find on, on the internet when I'm just playing around. Amazing. Anyways, so we're going to zoom in so you can see it. So, first things first, we're going to Cole Sillinger's jersey. How much did his jersey go for? His jersey went for $1,070, which
Damn.
he didn't even play in the game. So that's amazing that it went for that much.
That's wild.
But then I kind of get it though, because you know what? This is Blue Jackets history right here. This is a once in a lifetime thing. So once it goes away, and you're not getting it back. So I get it why people spend a lot of money on this. So Hefty Duck, your thoughts on Cole Sillinger's outdoor game jersey going for $1,070?
Yeah, that is kind of nuts. I'm getting a little bit of echo back from you. Sorry, maybe not as much now. Mute screen audio. We're good. Anyway, maybe not quite. I kind of get it, but also like 1,070, he wasn't in the game, but it did belong to him at one point.
Yeah.
So I get it. I just it's not like it's buying a replica. You're buying the jersey, right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Oh, and it does say Navy photo shoot worn.
Yeah.
Photo shoot worn jersey. So
he did wear it. So
anyway, I respect it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty decent price to go for
it. Okay, next up. How much did Sean Corrali's jersey go for? Let's see here. Sean Corrali's jersey went for $1,830. That's impressive. I'm impressed by that.
Huh.
I really am. So you have anything to say about that, Hefty Duck?
1,830. I'm not surprised. Sean Corrali has always been kind of one of the fan favorites. I mean, I don't know if I ever told you the story about how, like, during the entire, I had a little kid sit behind me one game, and the entire game, he just kept shouting, "Corrali fries, Corrali fries." I didn't even know that was like a nickname for him, Curly fries, Corrali fries.
Yeah.
And God, but yeah, kind of kind of a hometown kind of guy too, right? Somewhat. He's from Dublin, and I get it. I wish I could afford that for a jersey, but
yeah.
Who's the most expensive? What was it?
I don't. We'll find out.
Okay.
So, next up, we have Zach Werenski. How much did his jersey go for?
His has to be like more than everyone else. Can I guess real quick before you show it?
Yeah.
Like 3,000.
Okay. Hefty Duck says 3,000. We will see if he's right or not. Zach Werenski's jersey went for 1,310.
Huh. That's a little surprising to me. I mean, I did have a little bit piece of news for earlier. Oh well, we'll talk about it later about the fan favorite vote. I'm really surprised. I just would assume it was more, but I also I'm curious if like the 1,300 was symbolic as well.
Yes. So, all right, on to the next one. We're going to Ivan Provorov. How much did Ivan Provorov's jersey go for?
Let me guess. This one probably went for like about 1,000-ish.
Ivan Provorov's jersey went for $970.
Yeah, that's close.
That's pretty close. Okay. I think maybe that would have gone just a little higher, but oh well. Next one is, let's see here. What do we got? We have Dmitry Voronkov.
All right, hold on. Let me guess here. So Ferensky's went for like 1,300. Corrales went for like 1,800. I'm guessing Voronkov's got to be around the 1,300 range too, like Kerensky.
Let's see here. Dmitry Voronkov's jersey went for 1,010.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's not bad. I don't know. Like maybe it's just because he's one of my favorites. I'm a little biased, but maybe I don't know if he's like a fan favorite or not. Really, he's one of my favorites.
Okay. So these are photo shoot jerseys. So
right.
not the. I mean, so they wore them, but not like in the game. But anyways, next jersey is Adam Fantilli.
Dude, Fantilli's has to have gone for like 2,500, right? Like he is the star. He's the shiny new recruit. 2,500.
All right, Adam Fantilli. His jersey went for 1,230.
Huh. 1,230. Huh. Well, that's not bad. I mean, like that's still a hell of a lot of money. That's still really neat that someone paid that much for it. I would have expected maybe a little bit more, but I think the Sean Corrali jersey just like set the bar really high for me. I was kind of expecting everyone else's to be about that too. Huh.
16 people bid for Adam Fantilli's jersey.
Dang.
So, all right. So 1,230 for Adam Fantilli. Next up, we have, let's see here, James Van Riemsdyk. What did James Van Riemsdyk go for?
Let me see. JVR, he's a new guy, but he's been doing really good, like $600 to $800.
Let's see here. James Van Riemsdyk's jersey went for 1,830. So
I mean, to be fair, the name Van Riemsdyk is a really cool last name, so like that looks good on a jersey. But damn, 1,830 again, huh?
So basically, like Sean Corrali's jersey, and he had 23. He had 23 people bid on it.
Huh. Also, one of my, I mean, they're all kind of one of my favorite players. But it was not dissing him at all with that estimation, or I guess.
Next up is, let's see here. We have Sean Monahan. What jersey how much did Sean Monahan's jersey go for?
He's a new guy, but really, I'm gonna guess the exact same as Zach Werenski's, $1,310.
Just over 1,300. All right, let's find out. Sean Monahan's jersey went for that right on cue, Hefty Duck. What? 1,310.
Nice. Got one right.
Put it on the board. So 17 people bid for Sean Corrali's jersey. So that's all right. Cool.
Wow.
All right. Next up, we have Matthew Olivier's jersey.
Ooh, Olivier, fighter guy, real man. I would have bid pretty high for this one. I'm gonna guess 1,600.
All right. So Matthew Olivier, his jersey went for 1,050.
Well, it's still a good amount.
14 people bid on it.
Not bad. I wonder what size it is.
He's a 58.
Oh, okay.
It's right there. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So. Okay. So next up we have who else? We have we got Boone Jenner.
Boone. All right. So captain of the team, He's got to be up there with Corrali, 1800.
Is Hefty
Gotta
Duck
be.
right? Let's find out
It's got
how
the
much.
C on it and everything.
Yeah, it does. Let's find out Hefty Duck is right. Boone Jenner's jersey. How much did it go for? It went for 1,250.
Decent price. I thought we'd a little bit more being the captain, but I get it.
11
Well,
people
it's
bid on
cheap.
it. So 11 people bid on it. And let's see here. Boone Jenner's wearing a size 56.
Huh. Right on.
So that's
Like-
that.
It's kind of hard to tell, like, how, like, I mean, they all look muscular, of course, but then they all have pads on, so it's hard to tell, like, who's bigger and skinnier sometimes.
Right. So let's see here.
Who else we
Next
got?
up, we have Danil Tarasov.
Tarasov. So he didn't end up playing in the game, although this is the photo shoot. His has to go for around 1,000.
Okay. How much did Danil Tarasov's jersey go for? It went for 1,030.
Around 1,000, yeah. That figures.
But he also had but his jersey had 19 people bidding on it.
Damn. Huh. I'm curious. Maybe I'll say that thought for afterwards. Anyway, continue.
All right. Next up, we have Yegor Chinikov.
Chinny. So, not being this whole season this last year, but one of my favorites. I don't know if it's a fan favorite. I'm gonna say his was the same as Dmitry Voronkov's. What was his, like 1230 or something like that?
Just about
Just over
that.
12.
So Yegor Chinikov, his jersey went for 1,030.
A little less, but 15 bids. A lot of people. And when you think about how many jerseys they're selling and how many bids people are making, and if people are bidding on multiple ones too.
Yeah.
Huh.
Next up, we have let's see here. Kirill Marchenko.
All right, his has to be one of the highest. He is one of the most big, like, fan favorites. He did so well this last year. His has to be at least 1,800.
All right. How much did Kirill Marchenko's jersey go for? 1,230.
All right, I get it. Still, it's a lot. So far, Sean Corrali and
James Van Riemsdyk.
Van Riemsdyk have had the two highest. Interesting.
We're doing like the Blue Jackets jersey version of The Price is Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had that thought earlier too. The price is wrong, Bob.
Higher or lower? 16 people bid on Kirill Marchenko's jersey.
Huh.
All right, next up is, let's see here. We have Elvis Merzlikins jersey.
He's starting goalie. A lot of people have given him a lot of grief throughout the past few years, but personally, I think his went for one of the most. I think it's got to be around the 1,600 mark.
Okay, let's find out. Elvis Merzlikins jersey, how much did it go for? It went for 1,250.
All right, that's pretty. I mean, that's about the average, like, throughout the whole board. So
yeah,
I'm not too terribly surprised.
17 people bid for it. Let's see here. Okay, Merzlikins. Is that it? Let's see here. No, we have Kent Johnson.
KJ. Let's see. I'm gonna say his went the same as Fantilli's. Was that about the 1230 range too, or was that lower? Yeah. I think Van Taylor's was 12:30 exactly.
We'll have to go back and check. But Kent Johnson, how much did Kent Johnson's jersey go for? $1,070.
Huh. You know, I keep looking at these jerseys. Never mind. I'm keeping that thought to myself too. So yeah, I would expect it a little bit more, but not bad.
All right. We'll
There's only been one person under 1,000 so far, right?
Provorov.
Yeah.
All right. So Adam Fantilli. That's Evan Provorov. Adam Fantilli right there. So Adam Fantilli, his jersey went for $1,230.
Okay. Yeah.
And 16 people bid on it. He's a size 56. There you go. On to the next thing. James Van Riemsdyk's pants from the Blue Jackets outdoor game. How much did they go for?
Gee, so if his jersey went for that much, the pants are pants usually about the same as a jersey, I'd imagine. I feel like in the store I've seen them going for that's got to be at least $600 to $800. Am I just totally out of the ballpark there?
I've seen pants for like 200, 300, but those are lesser name players though.
Okay. Roll on this one, and then this will give me a good idea, hopefully, of the next few.
So, what you feeling here, Hefty Duck?
I'll stick it right in the middle. I'll say 500.
Okay, so James Van Riemsdyk's pants from the Blue Jackets outdoor game went for $150.
Oh, okay. So I am estimating rather high here. I wasn't quite sure how it would be compared, but all right, that gives me a good idea. I wonder if it's similar, if he has one of the highest ones here too. Huh.
So apparently he's a size small, apparently.
I like how they have the Stinger green on the inside of their jersey too, or the inside of their pants.
That's right.
All
right, so that's all we got for now. That has been our Blue Jackets version of The Price is Right. We will now. We hope you enjoyed that. Anyways, we're now going to move on to our player report card series. And first off, the first player that we're going to be talking about is Dante Fabbro. I'm going to give Dante Fabbro an A. The reason is that he was picked off of waivers in the month of November. And when you're doing that, you're picking a dude off of waivers, and you're just hoping for the best there. You're hoping that you can get something out of it, because honestly, you're probably not thinking much of it because you picked a dude off of waivers. And that's what the Blue Jackets did. They picked Dante Fabbro off of waivers. And not only did they get him off of waivers, but it's one of the best moves they made all season. It was so good that even, outsiders in the hockey world who don't pay attention to the Blue Jackets looked at it and said, like, dang, that was a good move that the Blue Jackets did there. It was really that good. But the big reason for me why he gets an A is that he really stepped it up. He played really good, especially with Zach Werenski. That was the best defensive pairing they had all season long, and it is one of the best. It is the best defensive pairing that the Blue Jackets have had since Seth Jones and Zach Werenski, and that is something that the Blue Jackets have been looking for ever since Seth Jones gets traded. They've kind of been looking for that guy that they can stick with Zach Werenski. They've tried a bunch of different guys, and some have been better than others. There's been some success there, but you haven't been able to find a guy that was consistently good with him until Dante Fabbro. Dante Fabbro really stepped it up, played really good, and he was Mr. Reliable with Zach Werenski. You needed offense, he could do that. You needed defense, he could do that. you needed penalty kill, he could do that. A little power play. If the Blue Jackets were up a goal or two late in the game and the other team pulled the goalie, needed a big stop to help keep the puck out of the net, that was Dante Fabbro with Zach Werenski. Just played outstanding, really stepped it up, and he earned himself a new big contract that he is going to get. Question remains if that's with the Blue Jackets or not. But the Blue Jackets are indeed interested in keeping him. I would be absolutely interested in keeping him as well. Played really good with Zach Werenski, and if he does stay with the Blue Jackets, it'll be interesting to see what he does, how he goes from there, and how he builds on his good season. So, Dante Fabbro, you played really good for the Blue Jackets, especially with Zach Werenski. You get an A.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't quite have the stats of some of the other players. I mean, Provorov did have some more points than him, but that's what we expect out of Provorov. The expectations of Dante Fabbro, like you were talking about, picking someone up off of waivers, you don't exactly expect them to come in and be like a half a point game defenseman. So, like, the fact that he came in here and off of waivers in 62 games had 26 points and 1 point behind him in 70 games, so 8 more games, is Damon Severson. And not trying to throw strays at Severson, but he wasn't on waivers. He was signed for like friggin' like 7 years, man. Like, and it just their plus minuses are very telling too. Obviously, Favreau being on the ice with Zach Werenski a lot, but he has a plus minus of plus 23, which once you get to those higher extremes, it just shows that your line, the line you're on, the line you're out there with, or the duo, top notch. Severson was a plus 5. And I think that's also kind of telling for defensemen. That's mostly your job to stop the scoring. And so, yeah, just something to look at, just thinking about that as well. But I personally, I didn't have any expectations for Fabbro. I was like, I don't really know this guy very much. If he's on waivers, I'm like, how good is he really going to do? And he stepped in here, filled that spot, and up until someone pushes him out, like Taychuk or someone else coming up through the ranks, I think that the Jackets should keep him. He's only 26 years old. If he had that good of a season at 26, I mean, by the time he's 36, he could have a couple more good seasons.
Right. And I remember when the news happened, when the Blue Jackets got him on waivers. I remember that actually. It was November of 2024, and I was it was on the day, it was on that Sunday that the Blue Jackets played the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim. And I remember I was in my hotel room down in Florida, and I remember looking at my iPad that day. I was on Twitter, and I saw it that the Blue Jackets had gotten Dante Fabbro. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. We'll just see how that goes. Like, I know that he had been a good defenseman for Nashville for a bit, but, maybe not as good because, well, you're on waivers. So there must have been something going on there. But you know what? This is one of those instances where getting a guy on waivers worked out for the Blue Jackets. That's not always the case, but in this case it was, and it's great to see that it worked out for the Blue Jackets.
Well, and
Good season for Dante Fabbro.
And just because it works out doesn't mean that they do get that contract.
Right.
Looking at I'm blanking on his name so hard right now. Alexander Nylander from last
Right.
year. He
Yeah.
showed up and he played his absolute heart out. Played the best he's ever played in the NHL, and just the contract wasn't there for the next year.
No.
And he got a couple games. He had a couple opportunities up in Toronto this year with his brother.
Yeah.
Uh, so that didn't quite he didn't quite see the same success there.
No.
But yeah, I'd like to see some more of this guy.
And there is a possibility that, and this happened with Sam Gagner when he was with the Blue Jackets, 2016, 2017 season, the Blue Jackets got Sam Gagner on just a real dirt cheap 1-year deal right before the season started in September. And again, it's like Dante Fabro at that point in time, nothing was really thought much of it. The only thing I thought of at that time is, well, the Blue Jackets need help at center, and this guy's a center, so that should help. But he has basically one of his best seasons ever with the Blue Jackets, 18 goals, 50 points, and he's a big reason why the Blue Jackets power play was really good that season. It was as high as 30% in part because of Sam Gagner. But what happened was because he played so good, he basically priced himself out of a contract with the Blue Jackets because, there were multiple teams, including Vancouver, the team he went to, that just gave a contract that the Blue Jackets were not able to pay for that kind of a guy. And at that point in time, they had other guys that they needed to sign. So it's like, well, we want to have you on our team, but we just can't afford to do that when we need to sign other guys. Yeah. And that is a possibility that could happen with Dante Fabro too, that he played a real good season and he might price himself out of a contract with the Blue Jackets. Some other team may throw a contract at him and it might be just too much for the Blue Jackets where they say, I like you, but we can't because, we got to save money for this guy, or whatnot. Or the flip side, the deal is done and he's back. So we'll just be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, especially with the Blue Jackets having 2 first-round picks coming up and other players moving up through the ranks. Yeah.
So Dante Fabro, to finish this off, you get an A. Next up, Jake Christiansen. He gets an A. This was really Jake Christiansen's coming out party. This is where he really stepped it up. Played really good. Played just really good, third line, fourth line minutes. That's where he was most of the season. Sometimes he played higher up in the lineup. Played good too. But where he really stood out, where he really shined, was when he was playing lower in the lineup with those third line, fourth line minutes. Played real good defensively, really reliable, and it was just a guy that Dean Evason could count on. For a majority of the season, he did not get taken out of the lineup. And the only time he did is when he got hurt. Other than that, he was not coming out of the lineup. Just that real good defensive guy for a third line, fourth line minutes. And every team is looking for that kind of a guy so that they don't have to play their top defensive guys so much. They're looking for guys that they can count on to even things out and spread out some of the minutes during the game so that you don't have to have a guy play like 20, 30 minutes a night. Now, in this case, Zach Werenski was doing it because he could do it. He was good at it, and it didn't bug him because that's just who he is.
He's a machine.
He's a machine. Ivan Provorov was basically doing that too, and he was good at it.
But he was a Russian machine.
Yes. But it's nice to have someone like a Jake Christiansen so that you don't have to do that. Because that stuff, even if they can do it consistently and even if they're good at it, that's going to add up over time, and you don't want that. So it's nice to have someone like a Jake Christiansen come in there and play some of those minutes and feel like that you don't have to play some of your other guys more, that you can stick them in different situations. And Jake Christiansen, basically defensive defenseman, you do get some offense out of him, but he was mostly defense. And when he was out there, played really good. And then another thing I like is that Jake Christensen is the perfect example of waiting your turn, because over the years, there are so many times where he was just playing in Cleveland for a bit, and then he'd get called up for a bit, play for the Blue Jackets, get sent down, go back, play for the Monsters. Then he'd come back up for a bit, get sent down, and back and forth again and again and again. And there are some guys that wouldn't have liked that and would have just eventually would have said, I want to get traded. I want to play somewhere else. And that's understandable. But Jake Christensen did not do that. He waited his turn. And when he going back and forth between the Blue Jackets and the Monsters, played good both places. But when the time came for him to be with the Blue Jackets 100%, he was ready for it, and he took that job. No one's taking that away from him right now. He just played that good. A guy you could count on. So overall, Jake Christensen, you get an A.
Yeah. So this one, I agree with the grade, but I have a little bit of I don't know. I guess I got a hot take here as well. So, Jake Christensen was hired to do exactly what he did this season. His contract is team friendly, $975K. He's 25 years old. Left-hand shot, UFA 2027, 2028. So there's another 2 years left on his contract. At that contract, he could be sent up or down feasibly. The thing is that he would be sent down. He could probably get picked up.
Yeah.
And this is not a diss at him by any means, but once again, we were just talking about how defensemen are not going to be quite as hard to come by for the Blue Jackets here over the next few years. There are people that are coming up that will be able to step into these positions. So I agree with this. Something to note here, one of Christensen's really good things he did this year. So 68 games. He had 8 points. That's not what anyone's asking him to do. But he had like middle of the pack, very like middle to lower of the pack for time on ice. Yet he had the 6th most blocks on the team, doing what a defensive defenseman should be doing. So clocking in, doing his job, clocking out, game in, game out. No questions asked of him anyway. But as I just mentioned, there's going to be some guys coming up here very soon. I mean, I'm still looking at a potential Stanislav Svozil coming up through the ranks. Luca Morelli, he's only 19. Guillaume Richard.
Yeah.
And Charlie Ellick. Yeah. Cale McDonald, Corson Coolmans. Yeah. And so there's a lot of options coming up here soon. To make this an A+, Christensen's going to have to do what he did this last offseason and train. I'm assuming he trained really hard to get on this team, because every year at the beginning of the season, spots are hard to come by. Throughout the season, once players get in and out of games, they're judged for their gameplay, then the spots are a little bit more solidified sometimes. But to make this an A+ for next year, Jake Christensen has to come out guns blazing. I think a couple more points, even as a defenseman, a couple more points would be great to see. I really want to see him doing less giveaways. He was not very good at that this last season, but once again, he's a defenseman. I'm not. So just protect the puck a little more, keep the box up, hit him hard, and just be solid. When he had the puck, I didn't go, oh shit, he's gonna give it to the other team. Like,
no,
like another guy who at times was like, oh shit, he's gonna give it to the other team. Also, sorry, like everyone's casting strays today, but I'm just saying. Yeah. So good luck to you, Jake Christensen. Get an A+ next year.
And another interesting Jake Christensen story I'll share here is that this past October, I was at our bar before a Blue Jackets game, and I was talking to Zach Werenski's dad, and then I started talking to Jake Christensen's dad because Zach Werenski's dad was right next to Jake Christensen's dad talking, and then I like Zach Werenski's dad, oh, do you know this guy? This is Kevin. And he's like, no. And I started talking to Jake Christensen's dad. And then he starts talking about how, both to me and Zach Werenski's dad, about how years ago, Jake Christensen had offers to sign with minor league teams. And it was between that or go back to juniors in the Western Hockey League. And ultimately, Jake Christensen and his family made the decision to go back to the Western Hockey League for the Everett Silvertips. And at the end of that season, which was 2019-2020, that's around that time, that's when the Blue Jackets gave him a contract. They offered him a contract, and he took them up on it. And that's why Jake Christensen is with the Blue Jackets. So I thought that was interesting. I learned something from Jake Christensen's dad, the story of why Jake Christensen is with the Blue Jackets originally.
Huh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat too, that like, you know, you can just kind of meet family members hanging out at the bar and stuff like that. Figures to be their dads too. They're like, they just want to go out and be, you know, have a normal night, you know, as
Yeah.
well.
Well, no,
Plus
I
beers are
have,
cheaper there than nationwide.
well, yeah, there's that too. But like, that's not the first time I've seen Zach Werenski's dad hanging out at our bar. I've seen it multiple times.
Huh.
I've
Well, that's cool.
I've also seen Boone Jenner's mom and Boone Jenner's aunt hanging out at our bar.
Huh.
And I've talked to them. And then one time I talked to Zach Werenski's mom, Zach Werenski's brother. I've also talked to Boone Jenner's aunt and Boone Jenner's mom.
It's
all
so
at
random.
our bar.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's cool. But you know, what you're saying is true though, Hefty Duck, is that they just, they're normal people and they just want to hang out at our bar before the game. It just so happens that their kid is good at hockey. And
Yeah, a superstar. And I'm sure they're used to that by now. I'm sure they're very
yeah,
proud of their kids as well too. So that's just neat to see. I love seeing it.
yeah,
Because you know, you gotta remember sometimes too how old some of these guys are.
yeah,
You know, no joke, me and Kevin are older than the entire the majority of the team. Not a couple of
right,
them, but
yeah,
and just sometimes, you know, you kind of you look at these guys, they're making millions, they're superstars, they're out on TV, they're rich and famous type kind of guys, and yeah, like Fantilli's like 20, you know, so love seeing the parents around.
yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, on to the next one. We have Yegor Chinakov, and I'm going to give Yegor Chinakov a B. The reason is because when Yegor Chinakov played this season, he was really good. He really stand out, and where he shines is his offensive ability. He has a really good shot. He's good at shooting the puck. When he's on, he's on. He has a shot that very few people on the Blue Jackets have, which is the type of shot that can just score goals from anywhere on the ice and just blow it by people. That's exactly what he does. And when he scored goals this season, that's basically what he did. Played awesome. As a matter of fact, this past October, I was at the first two home games of the season, one against the Panthers, and then 2 days later, one against Buffalo. And the one against Buffalo, the Blue Jackets win that one 6-4. Yegor Chinakov is one of the ones who scores a goal that game. And I'll always remember this goal. It's on the power play. Yegor Chinakov gets it, and it's a snipe. He just blows it right by the goalie. It's just an awesome shot, just beautiful. And I was right. It was right there. I could see it perfectly. It's like, wow, what a shot. And that's what Yegor Chinakhov does. He's just really good at shooting the puck. He has offensive talent. We've seen it many times with the Blue Jackets. He's just that good. But his issue is he unfortunately keeps getting hurt. And I'm not ripping on you for that. It happens, but it's just like at some point you got to find a way to figure that out and not get hurt so you can be more consistent. Because the talent is there. He's the talent to be a 20, 30 goal guy. That's just how good he is. But because he got hurt, he misses out on potential opportunities. And for me, that's why I give him a B, because he was hurt. But when he did play, he was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I tend to agree with this. I'm maybe I'd throw him the plus just because when he was there, he did do amazing. But B's perfectly fine in my opinion. Because it was kind of a similar story with some other players we talked about. Just it sucks. It's unfortunate to see, but you know, get a couple more games in. I'd love to see you. I think it happened with Sean Monahan because he did so well. And he had played 54 games, which is technically the majority of a season, but nothing you can help. Not saying that you're a bad player because you're not playing in as many games as other players are. But what I'm saying is that I'm seeing other players being able to play, you know, 70 to 82 games in a season. And if we look back at Yegor Chinnikov's last few seasons, he's never played more than 62 games in a season, which 62 is a pretty good season. That was his very first season ever as well. So he played 30 games in his second season, 53 last season, and 30 games this season. So I don't. I understand that I think there was like some shoulder surgeries, and there was a lot of activity this last off season with him medically, and they didn't want to say exactly what was going wrong. Waddell said he was trying to keep things more under wraps this year as far as injuries go. So like it's not his fault, but if you got like other players are finding a way to do it, and if he could find a way to do it this season, I thought was like I talked about it before the season. I was like, this is a make or break season almost. It's not a contract year for him or anything, I don't believe. But let's take a quick look at his contract. Because so we got Blue Jackets have one more season of Yegor Chinakhov at 2.1 million. Then he'll be an RFA in 26-27. So he's still restricted then at that point, but this will be a contract year for him. He needs to show up for next season, play as many possible games as like he can physically, and I hope it's closer to 82. Because if he does that, even if his value is going to skyrocket with what he's like it's kind of frustrating to watch him in a way because it's like holding like a pendulum just up in the air for like a long time. Like it's a heavy pendulum. It has potential. Like this is some science bullshit, right? It has potential to be let go and to go and swing hard. But it's just like someone's like, oh, like fake dropping it. Like, oh, and like you're seeing the potential in bits and flashes. And what I don't want is for someone to keep on like dropping it, and then all of a sudden it's down just hanging in the middle and there's no movement at all. Because he was not able to develop properly or something. So I mean he's a young guy. He's 24 years old. He was taken in the first round in 2020. Oftentimes first round players do well at some point in their career in the NHL. So here's to hoping for a fresh start and a healthy season for you next year, Chinakhov. If you want to make it an A+, play more than 70 games and play how you normally play.
Yeah. Another thing is about Chinakhov is that there was, when Johnny Gaudreau unfortunately died, there was that question among many Blue Jackets fans that was like, uh-oh, what happens next? Who's going to take that spot? And many people are like, well, I don't know. It could be Kirill Marchenko. Maybe it's Adam Fantilli. Maybe it's Kent Johnson. Maybe it's Boone Jenner. And a lot of people, and some people said, well, maybe it's Yegor Chinakhov. And Yegor Chinakhov is one of those guys that earned that first line spot right out of training camp to start out the season. And again, it's a small sample size, but when he started out with Kirill Marchenko and Sean Monahan on the first line, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was one of the best lines that the Blue Jackets had. And it was good. It produced offense. And again, that goal I saw in person when I was there, and he's good at goal scoring. Like, we see it. It's there. The talent is there. Then he gets hurt, unfortunately, and then when he does get back, it just wasn't as good because there just wasn't a lot of time left in the season to, get going. But if he can just, play more healthy, he's going to be okay. He's going to be fine because we've seen the talent that he can do. He's really good at shooting the puck. He's done that many times, scored some goals for the Blue Jackets. Just got to be more consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's a big dude too. 6'1", 200 pounds, man.
Yeah.
Just do strength training, get strong this summer.
Yeah. All right. So those are our player report card series for this week. Tune into next week's show where we talk about 3 more players. Anyway, so next thing that on our show that we're going to talk about is this. There are some players that do have some connections to Ohio State and the Blue Jackets. Meaning players who played for the Blue Jackets and Ohio State. Those players are R.J. Umberger, Ryan Dzingel, Carson Meyer, and Zach Dalpe. R.J. Umberger is the best player of this list. Real good player for the Blue Jackets, and he helped them get to the playoffs twice. And one of his big moments with the Blue Jackets was in Game 4 of the 2014 Stanley Cup playoffs. It's in overtime. Penguins have the puck in their offensive zone. Pittsburgh shoots it, and Umberger slides and blocks it with his face. Puck bounces off his face. It goes to Nick Foligno, and then eventually James Wisniewski kind of like pokes it ahead, and it goes to Nick Foligno again. Nick Foligno goes in the offensive zone, shoots and scores. Blue Jackets win that game 4-3 in overtime, and that was their first ever win in the playoffs at home in Blue Jackets history. And looking back on it, you look at the replay and it's like, ooh, man, that's one that Marc-Andre Fleury, who was the goalie at the time for Pittsburgh, it's one of those that's like, ooh, you should have had that one though, because that was a bad goal to give up there. Foligno just put it on net. Like he didn't, like, it wasn't like a slap shot, or it wasn't like where he didn't really put anything. He didn't put everything he had into it. It's one of those just quickly put it on net, and he shot and it went in. It's like, ooh, that's a bad goal there to give up there for Fleury. But in the end, it benefited the Blue Jackets. So that's probably one of the best RJ Umberger moments there for the Blue Jackets. Ryan Dzingel, the Blue Jackets got him during the trade deadline during the 2018-2019 season. And, he scored a goal against the Islanders in the month of March, and that helped the Blue Jackets win that game. So there's that. But other than that, he didn't really do a lot there. It's more of a depth piece for the Blue Jackets, so it was okay, Carson Meyer, good third line, fourth line guy for the Blue Jackets, more of a depth kind of a piece. But you know what? When he was there, played good, gave the Blue Jackets some good minutes. He did score a goal for the Blue Jackets in a game against the Flyers that the Blue Jackets would go on and win that game. So there's that. Also, he's a good player for the Monsters, too. Zach Dalpe is a similar story of Carson Myers, that he was mostly a minor league guy. He played real good for the Monsters, but when he played for the Blue Jackets, he gave them good minutes, good third line, fourth line minutes, and that's what he was. And so this is just a mid list, and this is where I want Ohio State to get better at. I would love years from now to have a list of guys that I could say, oh, dang, that's a good player. That's a good player. That's a good player. Because historically, as of right now, Ohio State does not produce the top talent that goes for hockey into the NHL. It just doesn't. It's not a Michigan. It's not a Boston College or a Wisconsin or a Minnesota or a North Dakota, stuff like that.
Like, for example, the Browns have currently at least 5 guys from Ohio State. I get it's a football school. I get that. But, dude, just how cool is it that they're from Ohio still here playing in Ohio?
Right.
I'm about to look up the Bengals too, but keep going. I'll let you know.
But I know what you're getting at there. Hefty Duck, that
oh, sorry. I had to mute.
It happens. But I know what you're getting at there, Hefty Duck. It's cool to see Ohio State guys stay in Ohio, whether that be for the Bengals or the Browns or the Blue Jackets. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool when you see that. And like, we've seen that many times, see real good players for Ohio State go play for the Browns or the Bengals.
17 former Buckeyes have been drafted by the Bengals. And not to mention that though he was more famous at LSU, Joe Burrow did play it. He was at Ohio State at that time. It's a good thing he got out, I think, but he's back in Ohio.
Yeah, so that's what we would like to see. We see so many guys play for the Bengals and the Browns that are good. We like to see that for the Blue Jackets. But for that to happen, Ohio State, you got to stop being a football-only mindset, because that is what you are historically. You look at Ohio State historically, their football team is always good. They're always competing for Big Ten championships and national championships. And they've been winning Big Ten championships and winning national championships and getting Heisman trophies and winning all these bowl games, just consistently good and producing top-tier elite talent for the NFL. And then generally speaking, you don't really see that. That's it. You don't really see anything else from the other sports. Occasionally, you'll see like the basketball team has a good season, or, hockey, men's hockey has a good season. It wasn't until, the women's team, who's been consistently good now, making NCAA tournament appearances, Frozen Four appearances, and multiple national championship game appearances, and winning 2 of those, that you're starting to think of Ohio State as more than just a football school. And I would love to see Ohio State actually put more attention towards other sports besides just football, because in my opinion, that's where they lose out on so much potential talent that could be going to their school. Case in point, we've talked about this on our show, the Shot, where the men's hockey team plays. It's not very good. You lose guys because of that. Some guys will look at them and, I don't want to play there. I could go to Michigan or Minnesota or Wisconsin or Boston College, and I could play somewhere better. And they would going to set me up better for when I go to the NHL.
Do you remember how Arizona had to play at a college hockey rink for like a whole season before they moved to Utah? Twice,
Oh,
right? 2 seasons.
yeah,
Just imagine, would you, if the Blue Jackets had to play in the Schottenstein Arena?
yeah, yeah.
Schottenstein. I don't know what the hell it is either way, but imagine you couldn't do that.
No,
You absolutely couldn't do that. I just,
it would be a short-term fix, and then like the NHL did with the Coyotes, they jump in and say, "You can't do this anymore. You need a new building." It's just, and that's where it plays where they needs to get better. And the Ohio State women's hockey team, they play at a pee-wee rink. Yes, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but there's some truth to that. Go look it up where they play. It's basically, it looks like it's a youth hockey pee-wee rink. That's
damn.
for a place like Ohio State, especially for the women's hockey team, who've absolutely cooked and dominated and won multiple national championships and been to the Frozen Four multiple times. That's not good enough. It's just not. It's just not. So that's an area where I want Ohio State to be better. Like, let's get rid of this football only mindset and let's be consistently good on multiple things. Women's hockey is obviously a good example, but I would love the men's hockey team to be that and just put out elite talent that the Blue Jackets could have, because that just doesn't happen. Maybe someday it could happen, but historically it just does not happen. That's where I want
Yeah.
Ohio State to get better at. I want this list to be ridiculously long, but that's just me. Anything else to say, your hefty duck, before I go on to the next slide?
No, I totally get that. I think the next slide is going to prove. I think going to prove another kind of point too, because, um, the Blue Jackets have had more players from certain other schools that many people in Columbus don't like, and I would just like to see them. I know it's one's college, one's professional. Nothing's ever gonna go exactly the way you want it and perfectly, like getting all the Ohio guys on one team, but just a couple more out there would be really neat to see. And when a we have a comment here from YouTube too. Offer sheets, offer sheets, offer sheets. He says, Rabbi Chowdhury. I hope I'm not butchering your name or saying
Yeah,
something stupid. Anyway, it's hard to compete with Boston College.
true.
Absolutely. That's Boston, like Kevin was saying earlier too, Minnesota, Michigan.
Wisconsin.
I mean, even looking at the college arena that Arizona College had, like that looked really nice.
Yep.
And oh, sweet. So they said thanks for pronouncing my name properly. No problem. So we do have another comment here. This is sarcasm. So Sir Boy Wonder 513 says Kevin Ryan is king. Acknowledge him.
Oh,
Pointing
Taylor.
emoji.
Now you
Getting
just
cut down.
being silly. You're just being silly.
Oh shit.
Good on you for winning the national championship, Ryan Day, but you need to stop shitting the bed against Michigan. Losing 4 in a row is disgustingly unacceptable. You need to be like Jim Tressel and Urban Meyer, who consistently kick the shit out of Michigan and destroy them consistently. But that's besides the point. But so, yeah, and the Boston College comment is true, is that historically Boston College is one of those schools that's good at hockey. The amount of talent they produced is good. Johnny Gaudreau being one of those guys that went there, and Cam Atkinson and a whole bunch of other guys. That's the difference. And maybe one day that can change with Ohio State. Even Ohio State, this past season, they're in the NCAA tournament. They're playing Boston University. Again, one of the better schools in college hockey. And they got smoked 8-3. And hopefully Ohio State uses that as a learning experience to say, hey, it's not good that happened, but you know what? We're going to be better. We're going to learn from that, and we're going to get better. We're going to make sure that something like that is happening. That you could, you could see the talent difference there. But maybe one day that changes. But anyways, on to the next slide, which is this. Players who've played for the Blue Jackets and Michigan, and this list is a lot longer. We have Sean Hunwick, who was a goalie. He was average, didn't play a lot. It was during the 2011-2012 season. He was okay, but really the thing that stood out about him was when he got signed by the Blue Jackets for like the first, he had a mask that he wore when he played for Michigan, and that's the only mask that he had until his Blue Jackets mask came in. And so for that short period of time, he was wearing that Michigan mask because that was the only mask that he had, was the mask with the Michigan logo on it. And you had a bunch of people, some of it was in a joking way, making comments about it. And then you had dorks. They're just like, ew, Michigan, ew. And it's just like, that stuff doesn't matter. When you leave Ohio State and Michigan, that stuff doesn't matter anymore. And you need to stop doing that. It's cringe. That stuff does not matter. If you're good, the Blue Jackets will play you. So Sean Hunwick, you were just kind of there. You were average at best. Tyler Mott, he was a good third line, fourth line guy for the Blue Jackets, played during the 2017-2018 season. I liked him. Gave some good third line, fourth line minutes for the Blue Jackets. So I like that. Gavin Brindley, look, there's not a lot to judge on this because he's only played one game, and that was the final game of the 2023-2024 season. So small sample size, but I liked what I saw there. He looked good, played good. But we played his highlights from the goals he scored at Michigan on our show before, and he's seen as a guy that's could be, a second line, third line guy. He's got some toughness, some physicality, some grinder to him. He does have a good shot. He can score some goals. And he is a smaller dude. He's like 5'9", but like he plays bigger than he actually is. He's got a little toughness to him. And so I like that. And he's eventually will be here, and he's seen as one of the top prospects that the Blue Jackets have. Nick Blankenburg, average at best. Like Gavin Brindley, he's a smaller dude, but he was kind of a tougher guy. He played bigger than he actually was. 110% attitude, balls to the wall, never gave up. But it's also because of that kind of tough, never give up attitude, play bigger than you actually are, that he got hurt a lot because of that. So it's like a catch-22 thing. It's like you like that balls to the wall, 110%, never give up attitude, play bigger than you actually are. You like that. But it's also because of that he got hurt. So it's like you wonder if the Blue Jackets kind of told him like, hey, just tone it down just a little bit. Just tone it down. So average at best, but there were some good moments with him. Kent Johnson has been real good for the Blue Jackets, especially this season. Really stepped it up. He's star of the future, first line, second line guy, really good on offense. Power play, he's good there. Penalty killing, he was good. He got a goal short-handed. He's really good at passing the puck, and he can score the underrated shot. He's got a good shot. He can score goals too, so he's looking like a future star for the Blue Jackets. Adam Fantilli, just outstanding future star of the Blue Jackets. First line, second line center. He's coming off a season where he scored 31 goals. Really good. And just bright, exciting future. Just like Kent Johnson. And excited to see what he does next season, how he builds on that. Just played awesome. 31 goal season. 2 hat tricks. Really stepped it up. Played good. Jack Johnson has been an awesome player for the Blue Jackets. where he really shined for the Blue Jackets was he was really good on the penalty kill this season. He's a bigger dude, added much needed toughness, physicality. When the Blue Jackets were playing a bigger team, they needed a little toughness, a little physicality. He'd go in the lineup. But where he's really memorable is his first time with the Blue Jackets, the 2011-2012 season. He gets traded there. The Blue Jackets are not playing very good that season. And he comes in there, instead of making a big fuss about it, he's one of the guys that says, you know what? I want to be the guy that helps turn it around. I want to be the guy that helps build it up. That's exactly what he did, because the Blue Jackets made the playoffs 3 times when he was there. He became one of the big important leaders there in the locker room. He helped build up the culture. He helped bring the Blue Jackets some more respectability. He helped the Blue Jackets made the playoffs 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, and 2017, 2018. He was really good with David Savard, had a plus 35 during the 2017 season. One of the best defensive pairings they've had just in general in Blue Jackets history. It was that. Plus 35 with Jack Johnson and David Savard. Just awesome. Jack Johnson was part of the Blue Jackets team that won 16 games in a row during the 2016-2017 season. And then, like I said earlier on, this past season, he was there to bring good veteran leadership for this team, especially for the younger guys. And when the Blue Jackets needed help on the penalty kill, he was there, stepped up. The penalty kill was better when he was there. They talked about this during Blue Jackets games multiple times. They show the stats of when Jack Johnson was on the penalty kill and when he wasn't. When Jack Johnson wasn't on the penalty kill, it was worse. When Jack Johnson was on the penalty kill, it was better. So there's that. And finally, Zach Werenski, the best of the best. As of right now, he is the best Michigan man to play at Michigan and play for the Blue Jackets. He's been outstanding. He's been the best of the best. One of the best defensemen that the Blue Jackets have ever had. He's been an important leader for the Blue Jackets. Always been a good player for the Blue Jackets, but this season, he really stepped it up. He took it to a whole new level. Instead of 10 out of 10, it was like 20 out of 10. He was in the Norris Trophy conversation, and he's a Norris Trophy finalist. 82 points. Big time goal scorer. Just outstanding, played really good defensively. Offense, defense, power play, penalty killing. He played 20, 30 minutes a night. He was a horse, just ridiculously good. Could always count on him. If you needed to play him higher in the lineup, he could do that. If you need to play him lower in the lineup, he could do that. Versatility, Mr. Reliable. He is everything. He is perfect. Just played outstanding. And now we get to see where he goes from there and how he builds on that for next season and beyond. So that is your list of guys who have played for Michigan and the Blue Jackets. Afty Duck, do you have anything to say about this?
Yeah. So, I'll just make a couple notes on a few of these players here. Nick Blankenburg, that was probably one of my most favorite pickups at the time for the Blue Jackets. He, while not delivering like Zach Werenski numbers or anything like that, his attitude, his character, and just the way he behaved at that time with the Blue Jackets and how not good they were doing, I think that was a really good breath of fresh air for the fans, that you saw someone who cared that deeply. Like, even though they're losing, man, like, it's like they know they are. He's out there giving it his all. You cannot deny he gave his all every time he was out there. But it's almost like, it's almost like a personality hire. Not saying that he's not qualified, but he's just like that cool of a guy that, you just kind of want him around. But, once he went down to Cleveland, I'm not surprised he ended up getting picked up over there in Nashville anyway. So, but gave it his all. Loved seeing him, but it's the NHL. Kent Johnson, so glad that he's on the team. Great pickup there once again. Gavin Brindley, I can't wait to see what he does here coming up soon. Fantilli, you couldn't ask for a better draft pick that year. I mean, obviously, yeah, there was 2 other draft picks that went before him, but for the Blue Jackets, I mean, getting a career franchise player like Adam Fantilli is huge. Jack Johnson, it's so funny that he was back around back in the day, and then he comes back around for this last season too. Just with any team, with a lot of young guys having a veteran leadership, especially a guy who has been there, he's one of the few players on the team that has his name on the Stanley Cup. And so having that there with the young guys, keeping them, and Kevin, you bring up a good point. Like, yeah, like the power play was better, and I don't even think it was because. So you get the older, more experienced guy on the ice. He's talking, he's communicating. It's not just reliant on just the goalie to yell and talk to people or direct everybody or Berensky or someone. So, and then the absolute goat of all time. I know what I said. Zach Werenski over here, winning the fan MVP this year. Who else would have won it? 82 points, best on the team. He had 45% of the vote. That's almost half of all votes for this. So this was an event. It's ended. The Blue Jackets had this recently, and this is from their event. 45% of the fan MVP. So this is like not regarding statistics. This is just like who the fans like think is, which it kind of goes by statistics. But anyway, so then Kirill Marchenko brings it up at 27% of the vote. I mean, that's a quarter of all votes. That's something to write home about. Sean Monahan with 17% of the vote, and Adam Fantilli with 11%. So, yeah, you can't deny that Zach Werenski has been one of the greatest investments by the Blue Jackets. People are gonna. There's always someone out there who's like, well, if they haven't gotten a cup and they haven't gotten to the playoffs and blah blah blah, and it's like, listen, it's an investment, and the dividends will pay off eventually. But whether or not they've gone far, these specific players have done something remarkable for the Blue Jackets, for the most part, most of them, more so than the few players that the Jackets have gotten from, one of our favorite colleges of all time, the Ohio State University.
That's right. Go Bucks! OHIO! Let's go! Woo!
Hell yeah. So we have another question here, Kevin, if you want to talk about this. We're kind of done talking about that.
But, before I get to that, it's just one last thing. Like, this is Ohio State's list with the Blue Jackets. We need you to get to here with Michigan. That would be outstanding. If you could be like Michigan and start producing more players to give to the Blue Jackets, especially top talent like a Kent Johnson and Adam Fantilli, Zach Werenski, and etc. That's where it needs to be. That's just my opinion, but
yeah,
that's besides the point. Anyways, so
okay.
We'll take that off the screen, and then we'll get to the question.
So Rabbi, I think I was pronouncing it right, asks, also, if you two would like to leave a comment or ask us a question while we're live during our show, check us out on YouTube or on X/Twitter. You can't comment on one of the reposts. You have to comment on the actual stream itself. But anyway, when the Jackets do end up cracking the code with successful postseason runs to the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals, how do you think the Jackets will deal with getting offer sheeted? Well, this is a good question because we're looking at the future. I don't want to count the chickens before they're hatched, but the future's bright. As long as the trajectory that's been constant continues its consistency with Don Waddell in as GM now, a guy who has had postseason success with the Carolina Hurricanes. Unfortunately, they have not gone all the way recent years, but in any case, he has experience kind of dealing with that uh, and the wheeling and dealing. Whereas, although like this is not a dig at Yarmo at all,
No.
but I think with Waddell at the helm, I think that this will go a lot better with his experience than someone who has less experience dealing with a higher talent caliber team.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, the moves that he made this offseason, the little like kind of like hidden gems he's found, signing
Mhm.
guys, picking up guys up off waivers and stuff like that, it just shows, you know, we're out here playing 2D chess. He's out here playing 4D chess.
Mhm.
And I have not disagreed with any move he's made so far. So personally, that's how I think that they're going to deal with it. I think that Waddell is going to game the system as best he can and to be successful at it.
I would say the whole offer sheet thing, yeah, that is a thing, and that potentially could happen. But the thing, I don't necessarily think that it's going to be as big of an issue because the Blue Jackets, they're smart with their money. Generally speaking, they're not going out there doing stupid crap. You see so many of these teams going out there and just being stupid with their money and just blowing it on things and just wasting it. And then when they need to go either sign someone from their team or they need to go make a trade or go get someone in free agency or something, they can't. They can't afford it because they're stupid with their money. That's not a thing with the Blue Jackets. That's generally speaking, that's never really happened, whether that be under Yarmo or Scott Housen or whoever. It's never really happened. They've always kind of been, smart with their money. And it's going to be the same thing with Don Waddell. Don Waddell has a history being smart with money. Like he isn't being stupid and just blowing it and just going willy nilly with it and spending it on stuff just because.
Yeah.
Even Don Waddell has said this is that free agency is one of those times that I'm paraphrasing it, but if you're not careful, you can absolutely ruin your cap space and you can ruin your team because you blew it. You were stupid with your money. You were stupid with your money. And so, in some hypothetical scenario, if something was offer sheeted and it was too much, the Blue Jackets, they'd be okay, fine. Okay, give us your 2 first-round draft picks and like a 4th-round draft pick that you have to give up as part of the deal. Like, fine. We'll take it. And even there's times when there's been offer sheets under Yarmo, and it'd probably be this, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be the same thing with the Don Waddell, maybe not, but there's even been times in Yarmo's like, you're not going to win. Like, you're going to try and offer sheet it. Okay, fine, but you're not going to win. And Don Waddell is even often open to offer sheets himself. Any option necessary. So, and Hefty Duck is right. Look, we have to look at it this way. Before Yarmo came to the Blue Jackets, the best thing that they had ever done was make the playoffs. That was during the 2008-2019 season. That before the 2008-2009 season. That was it. And then along comes Yarmo, and he helped bring some respectability to the Blue Jackets, where they make the playoffs 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018, 2018, 2019, and 2019, 2020. The Blue Jackets won 16 games in a row during that time span. They knocked out Tampa Bay and Toronto out of the playoffs. That's something they've never done, is getting series wins in the playoffs. And heck, they even got a win, 2 wins in the second round against Boston. They've never done that before. And that was Yarmo and JD that helped build that up to give the Blue Jackets some respectability and put them in a much more better position. But then the time came where the Blue Jackets needed something different, and along comes Dean Evison and Don Waddell. And Don Waddell, like Hefty Duck says, has a history of building up a team and making them good, that being the Carolina Hurricanes, who for years now are a team that are consistently good. They're consistently making the playoffs, and they made multiple trips to the conference final. So there's precedent there that it is going to get better. We're slowly building up to something like that. We'll eventually, wouldn't be surprised if we eventually got there.
Right, right. And not to mention too, the ownership is being a lot more public and active in the media even, and just open about things. So, that's good to see that their passion is there, and they're willing to put in the money and time. And honestly too, I mean, yeah, there's a cap limit, but just the Blue Jackets outdoor game, I mean, that had to have made them a decent chunk of money.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
had to have, and Ohio State too, I'd hope.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
you get 94,000 plus at a hockey game. You were definitely going to make a good chunk of money there.
if you don't, then maybe
I mean,
rethink the industry you're in.
because if you think about it, tickets and then concession stand, and then I know there was a lot of merchandise there that you could buy. My brother got a blanket there that day.
Oh, lucky for him, because yeah, that was cold from what I
Well,
understand.
yeah, like it was a $60 blanket, and he wasn't necessarily happy about that. But it's like, you know what, you do the best you can. It's like it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
People, that little expensive for a blanket, but I get it. That's the price that people are going to pay
It's a
for it.
limited edition kind of thing. It's a once in
Yes,
a time. Yeah.
it's a limited edition blanket, and I get it. So it's going to be more expensive. So, okay. But like, you think between like the tickets, the concession stand with like all the food and the beer, because I saw a lot of people drinking beer, and the merchandise and the parking, just a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, yeah, the Blue Jackets and Ohio State probably made a good chunk of money there. So I'm assuming that does help them out there in terms of like the cap space and everything.
Right. Right, because like cap space doesn't change, but the amount of like money that is not going to make or break your organization too is also very, very helpful. And they've been under the cap for quite a while, so I'm I'm hoping that they've been kind of saving up money for this. Abby has one more thing here. They do say, well, it does get more common as your team gets better. I could see betting low, getting gems, usually late first or lower rounds, that kind of stuff, choosing between rookies. Yeah, kind of same thing too, because the Blue Jackets aren't going to, knock on wood, aren't going to be getting in cracking those top 5 draft picks over the next few years. Like, there's, knock on wood, they get the playoffs and have shittier draft picks, but still, I mean, you know, and that was one thing Yarmo was really good at, was
Yep.
finding those kind of like later round or
Gems.
those type guys. Yeah. But now that those guys are in a position to start getting to the NHL, then it's a cycle. You're gonna rebuild, you're gonna go far, hopefully. You're gonna tear down, you're gonna rebuild, go far, hopefully, so anyway.
And what I want to say, this is what I was getting at earlier, is that with the usually late first or lower rounds, you can find that in the draft. But also, let's just say someone offer sheets you, and maybe it's too expensive. Maybe you say, no, I don't want to match that. You depending on what the situation, because there's certain rules on how things go. But for certain guys, some guys, it's like, if you offer sheet them and they don't sign it, that team, let's say, gets a second and a third and a fourth, or sometimes it's like 4 first-round draft picks and like a 5th round draft pick, or 4 first-round draft picks and like a second, or something like that. You and the team often that offer sheets them is usually a good team too. So those first round draft picks or that first 4 first round draft picks and like that fourth that you would get not going to be as good, but that's still good because then that's like 6 draft picks that you have that either A, you can use those 6 draft picks to pick, or B, use all of those draft picks to trade for something, or you use some of those draft picks or use to draft guys, or you use some of those draft picks to trade some guys. And that's what you're getting at there, is that you'd probably get later first or lower rounds, and you can use that to your advantage, whether it be in, from an offer sheet, or as you get better, you are going to have lower draft picks, but you can still get some good players there. And like Hefty Duck said, is that Jarmo, where he really stood out, he really shined, is his drafting. He was good at trades, but his drafting, where he would get guys second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round, even like Marcus Nudavar in the 7th round. You get guys later rounds that turned out to be good picks. And you're like, man, that was a good pick. Like, where did he get that one? Where did he find that one? Like him and the scouting department did a real good job there. So you could get that, with the usual late first, lower seconds, so that be from an offer sheet, or just because you're better, you have later round lower picks in the draft. Like, you can get that. That is a thing. And it may come to a point where you say, choosing between rookies or this guy, you may pick the rookie for whatever reason. He's cheaper and maybe he's the better guy. So it's just interesting how it goes and works out like that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens this off season, but then like even looking forward, because literally for the past like 5 years, it's just been like, oh, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this. Well, forward is coming. Forward is now. It's time to, if it's not now, then holy shit, it's gotta be. It's got. I mean, there. I feel like the saying there. Oh, next season. Oh, we'll get him next season. That's done with.
Right.
Because I mean, now if not, then we're just gonna riot. It's fine. It's jokes.
Jokes.
A joke.
Jokes. I'm gonna say something about this comment. Is that Taylor, or Sir Boy Wonder 513? He says the only thing that is disgustingly unacceptable is the Bojangles, and Columbus is not a real Bojangles. And Harry, our good friend of the show, Harry, the outstanding, the wonderful Dime a Dog champion, said this on a Twitter space that I was on with him recently, that he said this too, that basically he agrees with what Taylor is saying here, is that the Bojangles that Columbus has is not as good, and it's not like a real Bojangles that they want to have in other places. And the reason he explained it is because the real Bojangles in the South, it's like fried chicken, but like pieces of fried chicken. The Bojangles, you go there, it's like fried chicken tenders.
Huh.
So that was his criticism. So when I saw that comment, it made me think of Harry and him agreeing with Taylor that, the Bojangles basically isn't like as good and real compared to the ones they have down south.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, there's a couple in Ohio, but I've only been to ones when I was like in the South. Specifically, I think I was in like North Carolina or something, and it was really good. Maybe I'll have to go try it sometime. I can't eat a lot of fast food, because of my stomach stuff, but
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. So there's that. Look, I've recommended this multiple times on the show. Not going to play it because copyright reasons, but come on. If you haven't checked out the 21 Pilots performance that they did at the Blue Jackets outdoor game, you should check it out. It is just awesome. I have watched this multiple times since then. And it's cool to support a band, 21 Pilots, that's from Columbus, and they're big Blue Jackets fans. They love the Blue Jackets. They have been seen at multiple Blue Jackets games. So if you haven't seen it already, go check out 21 Pilots performance at the Blue Jackets outdoor game.
Hell yeah. Good shit.
So there's that. Our next show is going to be on Sunday, June 8th, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. So again, our next show will be on Sunday, June 8th, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. So check that out. Our next show will be on Sunday, June 8th, 2025 at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, the last thing that I would like to talk about before we plug our stuff and then get out of here is this. Now, I got put it up on the screen. Bingo card. Kevin didn't put it up on the screen. There's the bingo card. All right. So on the screen. So this is from an Ohio State fan account on Twitter. And the tweet that he says is, to all of the recruits visiting Columbus this weekend, Ohio State has the most first-round draft picks of all time and 6 Rookie of the Year since 2016. Basically saying, hey, if you come to Columbus, you're going to go to a good football school. They're going to prepare you for the future, and you're going to go to the NFL, and you're going to be elite and develop properly, which is
literally true. The entire city will probably buy your dinner every time you go out.
Well, true, because Ohio State is basically viewed as like God.
You're a celebrity, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. You're
not saying that I don't love them and don't enjoy that too, but you know, it's that would maybe attract me if I wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw that and made a response to that tweet and added on to that. Basically another reason that people should come to Columbus if, you're one of those people. Columbus has the Blue Jackets, Crew, Clippers, Short North, German Village, the Columbus Zoo, etc. to enjoy, and you can go to Ohio State, a good school that is historically good at football, lots of stuff to offer for people coming to Columbus. Many places can't say that. Columbus is the place to be, which it's true. Columbus is the place to be. It is a up and coming city. It's now top 20 in population. Not that long ago, it passed San Francisco for 14th biggest city in America. The most recent census came out in 2020 showing that Columbus is the biggest city in Ohio. It has beaten Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Dayton, Akron, Toledo, you name any other big city in Ohio, Columbus beats it. And all the big name businesses, when they pick Ohio, they're going to Columbus. And when you think about some of the big time events that happen, from sports to political to comic book conventions to anime to bodybuilding and so much more, when they're picking Ohio, they're going to Columbus. Columbus really is the place to be. Columbus is the place that's on the rise. It's a star that keeps shining brighter and brighter and brighter. Every time I've taken my family here in Illinois to Columbus, they love it. And they want to come back. It's like, Kevin, when are you going back to Columbus? I want to come back. I want to see the Blue Jackets play again. I want to go to this restaurant. I want to do this. I want to do that. Ohio State or what the Blue Jackets or whatever. Columbus really is the place to be. And if you are a recruit that's coming to check out potential places to play, whether that be football or hockey or basketball or basketball or baseball, whatever, you are going to have some downtime. You're going to want to have some stuff to do. And most places are like your stereotypical college town where you're going to have some stuff to do, but there really isn't a lot going on there.
Just some pizza places, some bars, and, maybe a couple clubs.
Right. But Columbus has something to offer. It really does. You want to go see a hockey game, Blue Jackets. You want to see a soccer game, Crew. Baseball, Clippers. The Short North is one of the best neighborhoods in Columbus with a bunch of restaurants and stores and bars. That's cool. German Village, that's a cool place to be. Schmitz is there, one of the best German restaurant, one of the best restaurants in Columbus, featured on Food Network and Travel Channel.
And in Nationwide Arena.
And it's also at Nationwide Arena. You can get Schmitz at Blue Jackets games. You can also get Schmitz at Crew games. It's awesome. Really? I didn't know that. It's awesome. Yeah, it's at Crew games now too. So it's awesome. The Book Loft is there. It's this German, it's like this book place in German Village that has like all kinds of books. And it's like a maze. It goes all over the place from top to bottom.
Three-story tie or something?
You think you've seen it? No, you haven't. It's all over the place. Books from A to Z all over the place as far as the eye can see. It's everywhere. And then the Columbus Zoo, the best of the best. World-class, iconic zoo, one of the best zoos in America. People come from all over America to see the Columbus Zoo. Jack Hanna, one of the most well-known people when it comes to animals and like zoo. He does stuff at the Columbus Zoo. He's that iconic. So that's something that Columbus offers compared to other schools, is that you can go to a good school at Ohio State, get a good education. You can go play football, go to a good football school. You can go to the NFL, get drafted, developed elite. You'll be developed correctly, be elite, go into the next level. You'll be set up for that. And you get stuff to do. You will not be bored when you're in Columbus. Lots of stuff to do. And the Blue Jackets have had some Ohio State football guys work for them for like internships. I've seen this. The Blue Jackets have posted about it. Ohio State has posted about it. That, oh, look, here's this, Ohio State football player. He's playing, he's got a cool internship and he's working for the Blue Jackets. He's doing this, he's doing that. That's cool. Oh, might I just add, if you're good at band, you get to play in like one of the best bands out there. And the Ohio State band, they just played at the Blue Jackets outdoor game over in front of 94,000 plus people. When playing music during the entire game, Ohio State music, and when the Blue Jackets scored a goal, the Ohio State band played music, which was cool. So, I guess I'm trying to get at here, if, you're one of those people that's looking at, oh, what college should I go to? I don't know, maybe give Ohio State a shot. Go to Columbus, because there's a lot. Not only will you be, if you're good at football, not only will you be going to a good football school and you will be prepared for the next level, you will be drafted, but you're going to have a lot of stuff to do. You're not going to be stuck in some stereotypical college town where there probably isn't a lot to do. You're going to have the Blue Jackets and the Crew and the Clippers and so much more. Short North, German Village, whatever. You're going to have it. So check it out. That's just me going on a little rant there that you should check it out. if you're someone that's thinking picking a school, you pick Ohio State. You're gonna have a lot of fun stuff to do there. That's just me though. Hefty Duck, anything to say about this?
No, I was just I'm thinking of like other college towns out there, Bowling Green's one that I spent some time around mostly, and it's fun up there. There's plenty to do. You can always go. But one thing too, I think is if anyone out there is interested in sports journalism, in doing anything like that, video production, stuff like that, Columbus is a great place for that too, because there is so many options from the collegiate level up to pro. I mean, down to pee wee leagues if you really wanted. So I think that's another thing to look at because yeah, I met some interns while doing some media stuff this last season, and they all do great jobs. And
Yep.
yeah, just a lot of positives. I mean. I don't know. Like there's certain spots that I'm sure there's negatives of Columbus, but off the top of my head, I mean, the price of living in some spots is high, I guess, but I don't know. It's like thinking of other cities too. I can think of a couple negatives of certain places, even if I love them a lot. Like I love Cleveland, but I
Yeah.
just Columbus. It's nice, clean. It's not crime free, but it's I don't ever feel like dangerous there. I'm in
Right.
danger or something. So
Yeah,
great city.
it is. So check it. So again, one last time, if you're one of those people that, you're thinking about a school and, come to Columbus, check out Ohio State, and you can do all this fun stuff that Columbus has to offer. The Blue Jackets, the Crew, the Clippers, and so much more. So check that out. We got a comment right here. The Jackets should look to make the playoffs as the wild card next year, of course. Should take a chance at Greaves as the starter again since he did so well to finish the season in the NHL. Yeah, that is definitely the expectations is that, at minimum, you should be making the playoffs as a wild card because you almost did that this past season. You did way better than expected. People were not thinking you were going to be that good. People were not thinking that you were going to be where you are today. People were thinking you were going to be one of those teams that was picking top 10 again. That didn't happen. You got picks 14 and 20. You did better than expected. You just missed the playoffs by one game. So, yeah, that should be at minimum. You should be one of those teams that's good enough to make the playoffs as a wild card spot. I think they have the talent to where they could go higher than that, do better than that. But at minimum, I think that should be the thing that, okay, you've shown that you can be competitive, good enough to fight for a playoff spot. Now let's get that playoff spot next time. Let's get in there. And then hockey playoffs compared to other sports is so different. It's once you get in, anything can happen. You can get knocked out quickly, or you can go on a heater to like the conference final or the Stanley Cup final.
You can be the top seeded team and get swept in 4 games.
You can do what the Blue Jackets did in 2019, which is you sweep the Tampa Bay Lightning and just smoke them. Anything can happen. You get in, you get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. I understand what
they had Tampa Bay had the top seed then too, and the Jackets were they snuck in.
Yeah,
at the very last little second.
They did. It was the second to last game of the 2018-2019 season, and I was in a hotel room in Georgia because my dad and I flew down to Florida to help my grandma and grandpa who had a condo down there, and then they sold it. And then we're helping move some of their stuff. And then they got on a plane to fly back home to Illinois. And we got in a car and just started driving their stuff back up to Illinois. And we stopped in Georgia for the night. And the Blue Jackets played that day in New York. And the Blue Jackets won that game in a shootout. It was the second to last game of the season. And that was the game that the Blue Jackets won to get into the playoffs. interesting enough, back then, Montreal was the team that was hoping that the Blue Jackets would lose the final 2 games to get in.
It's ironic.
But that didn't happen because the Blue Jackets won their final 2 games and they got in. But that's besides the point. So I was in Georgia and I saw that game in the hotel room, and I had to be real quiet because it was kind of late at night, and my dad was sleeping because we had to get up early the next day and start driving some more. So like instead of cheering very loud like I normally did, it was very kind of quiet. It was all like, yes, 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 yes. Kind of like that. Artemi Panarin got the game-winning goal in the shootout there, and Blue Jackets needed a big save from Sergei Bobrovsky to make the save to end the game, and he did just that, and that's when they got into the playoffs that day. So yeah,
I
as
was
far
there
as
at that game, and holy shit, dude!
yeah,
I thought that the building was gonna come down. It was so loud,
in New
so
York,
loud.
and they
Or
did it in New they did it in New
sorry,
York. They did it in New York too against the Rangers, which is one of the hardest buildings to play in. So that just made it that much harder and better. But as for Jet Greaves, I understand what you're getting at here. He did play really good towards the end of the season. He did not lose a game. He went on a heater. He did contribute to why the Blue Jackets were they were, which is having a playoff spot until game 81 of game 82. He did play good. He does deserve a chance at that. My only slight pushback at that is it's a small sample size. We haven't seen a lot from Jet Greaves. He's had some moments here and there where he's played for the Blue Jackets. He's looked good, but I need more consistency from him. What's he going to do when he plays more consistently over an 82-game season? Is he going to be that same guy? Also, something to consider here. The book is out on Jet Greaves now. There's tape on him. Teams are going to watch the tape, and they're going to find out how can you go after this guy? How can you score goals on him? What were his weak points, and what's he good at? And teams are going to figure out a game plan on how to, go after him. And then it's going to be up to Jet Greaves. It's okay. How do you handle that? How do you combat that? Because that's going to be a thing. Again, and then he hasn't played a lot of games. Yeah, that I'd be kind of weary to give him full starting job right away. It's one of two things. Either you don't have Danil Tarasov and Elvis Merzlikins anymore, and you go get someone to either back up or just be a veteran presence right now and play some games until Jet Greaves is ready to do it consistently. Or you have one of Danil Tarasov or Jet Greaves to go, or Danil Tarasov or Elvis Merzlikins to go with him, and Elvis Merzlikins or Danil Tarasov plays more of the games for a little bit, and then Jet Greaves comes in completely when he's ready. That's the only thing I'd say is let's be a little, I understand that he played really good. I get that. I like that. But let's be just a little cautious here before we start giving him the starting job. He might not necessarily be ready for that yet. So let's just be a little bit careful there and just wait. And if Elvis Merzlikins or if Danil Tarasov is still here and like they have to be the guy for a bit, then so be it. And ease into it so he's ready. We just don't know yet. So let's just be a little careful here and with the whole let's give Jet Greaves the starter thing yet.
Yeah, I mean, just going by just the games we saw last year, yeah, I'm super hyped. I'm on the Jet Greaves train for sure, if not Jet Greaves Jet. Sorry, that was a lame joke. But yeah, I mean, most teams don't have 3 goaltenders. This is something that we're going to cover more over the summer too, especially as eventually, this is way early speculation, but especially once we get around to training camp, things might change over the summer. Sometimes big moves you might not want to make drastically, so they're going to think about things, and that can happen over the summer sometimes. There's gonna be a big move. There has to be. One of those 3 is gonna be a big move.
Yeah.
One of the 3 being Greaves, Tarasov, or Merzlikins. What was the last team that was rolling a triple goalie, a 3 goalie setup? It's not never happened. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
it's why would you do that? Pick one.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
shit.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I hope to have more discussion on that here in the future too.
Yeah. Then another comment. I mean, this year the 9th best team by record, and 11th best team by record in the finals. Although McDavid and Draisaitl and Tkachuk were injured in the regular season, like, okay, yeah, and you don't necessarily have to have like real good goaltending. Like, you have guys that are okay, average at best, that help their teams get to the Stanley Cup final and sometimes win it. That helps, but sometimes it's better if you can have that real good guy that that's consistently good and can count on. That's it. So that's just my only thing. Like Jack Greaves obviously did an awesome job with the Blue Jackets this season. He's played good with the Monsters. He's a big reason why the Monsters went to the conference final. Heck, even got him at, second round of the playoffs. I get that. And good moments with the Blue Jackets. I understand that, but I just gotta, because we saw this with people saying with Elvis Merzlikins, oh, he's the next thing. Jonas Corposalo, he's the next thing. This guy's the next thing. And for the most part, that really hasn't been the case. Jonas Corposalo was proven to be a real good goalie for the Blue Jackets. So were people saying he's the next thing, that was proven to be correct. People were saying that about Elvis Merzlikins. There was reason to believe that because he was one of the best goalie
He
prospects
came out
out there.
so hot too,
So
such a good couple seasons, yeah.
So like there's but generally speaking, he's been average at best, sometimes bad, sometimes good. So let's be a little bit careful here before we start just giving guys the starting position before they actually 100% completely earn it and they're ready for it. Because that's one of the worst things that you can do for someone's development is throw someone in a position, throw them to the wolves that they're not ready for, and that ruins their development. It ruins their confidence, and sometimes they're not the same player after you do that. You have to make sure that person is ready for it 100%. As of right now, it certainly looks like Jet Greaves is ready for it, but let's be a little cautious here and make sure that he's ready for it. And if he's not, it's okay. Well, we have Elvis Merzlikins or Danil Tarasov to stick in there, or if the Blue Jackets feel like they don't like those guys and they need to go get someone, trade or free agency, that can be that guy as well. Let's just be a little bit careful here about just throwing him the job right away. We want him to be in Jet Greaves to be in a position where he's 100% ready. No setbacks.
Right. All right. Well, so do you have anything else?
No, man, we have certainly gone on a heater here today. This is
Yeah, it's been a good one.
oh
Thank you
boy,
all watching. Thank
we
you
had a
all the
good show.
142 of you currently watching. We appreciate you guys very much. The majority of those are on Twitter or X, but check out our YouTube as well.
My God.
Sorry, take it away, Kevin. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, but like Hefty Duck and I, we've definitely gone on a heater here. Man, this show, by the time it's done, it's going to be over 2 hours, which we have done that before, but usually it does not happen. But check out our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Another comment. Once upon a time, Bobrovsky was on inconsistent was like on an inconsistent Stuart Skinner levels timing. So it's not like guys can't change. No, you're correct. Guys can't guys can change. You just got to be careful about it. You just have to, do it correctly. That's all.
Do I
That's all.
believe he can do it? Absolutely. But we just gotta, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping the best for him. Honestly, I just really am.
Right. I like Jet Greaves.
I think he's awesome. Cool name too.
Oh God, yeah,
I'm sure he could
banger,
throw that.
absolute beautiful name. 10 out of 10. Jet Greaves. Okay, so again, check out our YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please tell your family. Please tell your friends. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. As always, got to give a shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Good guy. Life of the party. Always fun to talk to. Always fun to see you at family parties, get-togethers, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Christmas, Easter, birthday parties, family get-togethers, and so much more. Love talking hockey with you. Such a good guy. And wonder if you were still here. Wonder what you'd be doing right now. And I wish you were still here so I could talk hockey with you because you were a big hockey fan. Be talking to you on how you thought your favorite team, the Blackhawks, did. And I'd be telling you how my favorite team, the Blue Jackets, did. We'd be having a good back and forth discussion about hockey and just sports in general. You became a big Blue Jackets fan, your number 2 team because of me, and you would wear a Blue Jackets hat that I gave you. You had a cook job at the time where you worked as a restaurant as a cook, and you'd always wear that hat there, and you'd tell how people loved that hat, and they'd say, hey, what's that hat? And, oh, it's a Blue Jackets hat, hockey. And say, oh, that's a cool hat. And you tell me how people loved the Blue Jackets hat that you would wear at your cook job. And I just wish that you were still here, man. But unfortunately, you died in September. But so I could still talk some hockey with you. But shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Awesome guy. I wish you're still here. Shout out to my awesome Uncle Doc. Thank you for everything.
Rest in peace, Uncle Doc.
One last thing. You should check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check us out on all social media platforms and check out Union Blue Soldiers. We do cool stuff like marches, and we'll be doing another one for the home opener this upcoming October. And I'm going to play video. So here it is. So we're going to put this up on the screen, and I'm going to go. So here, where? Okay, here it is. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Here, come on now. Get going. So there it is. So as you can see on the screen, that is just different videos and pictures that we've done from different Union Blue Soldiers marches. A lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
We get about probably 100 to 200 people. When the Blue Jackets did it, it was probably closer to 200. And as you can see in the video, I'll back this up. Look, there's Stinger. Stinger was there, and people from the Blue Jackets organization. It's been on TV. Clay Hall from ABC 6 News. And if you've been to a Blue Jackets game within the last 5 years or so, you've seen it on the scoreboard at a Blue Jackets game. It's been on 97.1 The Fan and the Columbus Dispatch and so much more. So check out the Union Blue Soldiers March. Our next one is going to be the Blue Jackets home opener next season. So check it out. So check out the Union Blue Soldiers March. So check that out.
Be
So
there.
yeah, be there. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to be with your fellow Blue Jackets fans, marching onto Nationwide Arena to cheer on the Blue Jackets. A good way to be with your fellow Blue Jackets fans and cheer on the Blue Jackets. So check out the Union Blue Soldiers March. It's going to be, the next one will be this upcoming October for the Blue Jackets home opener. So check it out. So
Hell
that
yeah.
is, so check it out. So that that's all I have to say. Hefty Duck, he can promote some stuff, and then we can get out of here.
Sure. I know some of you see me with my head down oftentimes. I doodle, I draw, and I write things down while doing the podcast a little bit here. It helps me pay attention a little bit better, oddly enough. That guy in school that was always in the corner doodling shit while the teacher was talking. That was me. Yeah, they let me do it because anyway. Speaking of drawing, I do tattoos professionally at a little place called Shatterproof Tattoo. I recently did a Stinger, the mascot tattoo on a fellow. Check it out. You can check me out at Lance Schrock Tattoos on Instagram. You can check me out at Lance_Schrock on X.com, Twitter. You can add me on Facebook if you really want. I mean, it's just my real name. Just feel free. You can check out my link tree. Check that out. I technically sponsor this show. So I had to plug my little ad there for you. So anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, press all the buttons wherever you're pressing buttons at. Check out our stuff. Check out Union Blue Soldiers. Check out my tattoos. Check out all of our Facebook and Twitter and all that shit. So thanks again for being here, and we will see you next week. Same time, same place, 7:00 p.m. next Sunday. See you then.